Love makes you go all in, but love is also a motherfucker. She's Gotta Have It, Season 2, Episode 3 and 4. Make sure you guys stay tuned because we will be talking about it.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, guys. Hey, everyone. What's up? I am your girl, Nakia Monet. This is She's Gotta Have It, Season 2, Part 2. And we are reviewing Episodes 3 and 4. Again, I am Nakia Monet, and I'm here with some beautiful co-hosts.
Hey, everyone. I'm Mina Wahab.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, Drew Jones.
Hi, ladies. How are you?
Good.
Yes. So last time we were here, we reviewed episodes 1 and 2, and we're taking it a little bit slow, but we got you guys. Don't worry, because I know it's already on Netflix, and I know everyone binged it over the weekend, so we are going to try to get these shows out for you. Today, we're also going to do some news and gossip. Drew has some news and gossip, and we do have a segment that we're going to kind of recycle from last year, which is F, marry, or kill, because it's fun. Who doesn't want to talk about people they want to F, marry, and kill? And all that good stuff. Before we get into everything, how did you guys like the two? We're going to start with episode 3. So how did you guys like episode 3? No, for both. How did you like both episodes?
Yeah, no, I liked it. I like that it just showed such real emotions of the breakup, and I'm trying not to like jumble up what I saw in episode 5. So I'm like, yeah, no, I thought it was good. I get excited when I see, you know, DeWanda Wise's character and like how she just has genuine excitement when she finally gets like something working for her career wise. Like it made me like I genuinely felt the happiness for her, and so for something that's not real to like make you feel that
Some good
intensity
stuff.
of joy for another character was a pretty good feeling.
That's awesome. What about you, Drew? How'd you like the episodes?
We kind of talked about it earlier, but Spike Lee got that Oscar, and he's kind of like, all right, I'm going to let y'all know how I really feel now. And I'm personally really here for it. I like the ruffling of feathers that we're seeing so far and topics being discussed, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yes, 2 really good episodes. So we're going to start with episode 3. 3 is my favorite number. This episode is called #LoveStings, and baby, that's what we got. Because when we come into episode 3, we recap episode 2, where Opal breaks Nola's little heart. So in this episode, you know, Nola is dealing with the breakup. And we all know what happens when we deal with the breakup. You can't eat. You can't sleep. You can't work. You're stressed out. Am I missing anything when you're dealing with the breakup? Homegirl's back in therapy. So what were your feels watching Nola go through this? Were you triggered? Were you like, damn, I remember what this felt like? Were you like, okay, I'm happy that her and Opal are no longer together? Did you think it was going to hurt this much? Because we see her kind of break down in therapy, you know, and she expresses how she feels about her ex.
My grandma says that for every year you're with somebody, you get a month to get over them. And so, so they were together for almost like 2 years. So I'm like, okay, this, you know, I'm gonna let her dabble in this. I felt for her though, because I feel like as an artist, and we're artists in our own way, when you're going through some type of emotional turmoil, sometimes it's great for your art, but then sometimes it's like a huge plug.
Yeah.
So I was feeling for her.
It was tough. What about you, Mina? Did you feel any feels when you were seeing her go through everything, yelling at Mars?
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Go away. Homegirl's crying, getting rid of all the photos in the apartment.
I think that's the hardest part is that, you know, like, you know, for me at least, I don't get rid of anything. It doesn't matter if a friendship ends, if anything ends. I'm like an emotional hoarder. So I'll like take stuff, put it on my external hard drive, put it away, out of sight. But I don't, like, for some people, it's super therapeutic to just, like, burn everything and get rid of it and have a nice little, like, powwow, whatever. But for me, at least, I feel like it's, like, that person has, like, a certain place and time. And, yeah, they hurt you, but, like, it takes forever to get over that. The 2 month or the 1 month per year rule, like, that sounds really quick. It's, like, I feel like it takes way longer when someone's such a pivotal part of your life.
No. You know what I think it is, though? Because though it may be, like, 1 month, it feels like forever.
Yeah.
It feels like an eternity. It feels like a year. Because a day, like, I can speak for myself. Going through heartbreak, a day feels like 5 years. And sometimes when you're really sad and depressed, you're like, I just want this day to be over with. So sometimes listen, baby, I've been through it all. I didn't get out of bed. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. And I remember, like, weeks later, I started to feel better, but you do get triggered and you feel sad. But weeks later, I was like, okay, I'm bugging. Like, what am I doing? And then I'd be triggered by something and be like, okay, I'm not healed yet. So I think a day just feels like an eternity.
And I think you're allowed to, not allowed, because, you know, you are your own person. You're allowed to feel how you feel. But I think health-wise, a month is enough time to, like, be deep up in it.
Yeah, because
you know?
you let too much time go by, it's too much.
If you sit in your misery and whatnot, that becomes your normal. And so...
Listen, I'll like a boy for like a day and a crush in my head, and then I'll be sad for 2 days. So, hey, triggered. Okay, speaking about triggered, Jamie and Cheryl Overstreet. Now, Jamie, you know, is doing his thing, but he's being a little weird because he's been fishy and he's seen his wife receive some beautiful Cartier jewelry. And I think like most men and women, when they cheat, I think they think that their partner is going to sit at home and take what they're doing. But little Miss Cheryl, not only did she cuss out his mistress, seems like she's living her best life. So Jamie follows her and finds her snooping in a hotel with a very fine young man who blows her back out on the window. How are you guys feeling? Were you happy for Cheryl, or you still want to beat her ass, or you're like, whatever? Do you think this is what's deserved for Jamie to see his wife going into a hotel with someone else?
I'm not a fan of Cheryl, but I still have, like, from woman to woman, I'm like, good for you, sis. Also, that person's name was Drew, and I was like, yes. But I just, like... Jamie and men like Jamie truly infuriate me like no other, because you have the audacity to be emotionally and mentally abusive, because cheating is a form of abuse. I don't care. You are not respecting someone who has committed themselves to you, and you're playing with their emotions, and then you expect them to stick around, and then you have some weird type of ownership over them when they choose to
just
like
mess.
Do them. And so like the whole time I'm like, the audacity of this man. Like, he just made me so angry. So, like, you know, yeah, feel like garbage, Jamie, because you are kind of garbage.
What about you, Mina?
I just want to know the timeline of everything, because I don't like Cheryl. I feel like they both did each other wrong. Like, why is Jamie the only bad guy? It takes two to ruin a relationship. Right. And, you know, they had that whole conversation last episode where she's like, you're going to blame me and say that it was my fault and this and that. It's like, if you got, like, a Cartier necklace, how long was this going on your end?
Right.
You know, like, I want to know, like, it probably happened around the same time. Like, no, I'm not happy for her. I'm not happy for either of them. I think they're both trash. Like,
I was going to say, I think with Jamie and Cheryl, I think this has been a thing where they've been married for they've known each other their whole lives. And I think when she pointed out in season 1, he's been cheating their whole relationship. And not to counteract and be like, two, you know, makes her right. But I think from what I look at it, if the husband's been cheating the whole time, I think she probably got to a point where, like, I'm fed up. And where she was crying, she was depressed, I'm taking care of your kid, I'm doing my thing. And I also think, like, when they had the divorce talk, like, I don't think she wants to leave her husband, but I think when she's seen where her husband invested into this other relationship, where she's like, well, damn, if he's emotionally out and trying to leave me, why can't I be charmed by my hot-ass coworker who wants to buy me a drink? And maybe one thing led to another. And then I think her seeing Nola, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's my.
I also just want to bring up that between season 2 and season 1, it's been an 18-month time period.
Yeah.
And last season, she was done with the situation. She was like, the Nola thing had blown up, and she was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So I don't think she's in the wrong, and I also don't agree with the it takes two to ruin a relationship, because I think it takes one person. If one person doesn't respect it, then it's like,
yeah,
like. I don't like the idea of blaming cheating on her, because, like, whether she was bitchy or not, you have full capability to walk away from a situation. If you're not happy, you have full capability. Like, there's nothing there that's, like, you're not stuck in it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and I don't like her as a person. I'm not, like, I want to kiki with this girl. But I do think good for her for kind of being like, you know what? I'm gonna step out. I'm good. Like, I'm good.
Yeah,
love.
I'm not a fan of Cheryl. I'm kind of like on both, where I do think I'm happy that she's getting it, and I wanted Jamie to hear it. But on one end, I hate when couples do this. I feel like just get the divorce, just break up.
Yeah.
If homie's cheating or you're cheating, just leave each other instead of doing this game where now my crazy half ex-husband is stalking me. But half of me was like, yes, Jamie, walk up to that hotel and listen to her have amazing sex. And I believe that they had sex too, Jamie and Cheryl, recently. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if now he's triggered. I don't know if because now he's not dealing with all his other boos and girlfriends, if that's why he's stalking her. But hey, I'm happy that she was able to get it, and I am interested, and I hope that they delve more and to see who this guy is. Because like you said, I'm interested to see how long they've been kicking it. But I'm happy that he blew her back out. Yes. Goals. Our guy Mars, who I feel like is everyone's favorite. Story of Mars. Drew, you said earlier, with Spike does a thing where he likes to bring up current events. And what we've been seeing a lot lately, and we've been hearing a lot about Puerto Rico. So for those who know, Puerto Rico was in the news because they had that horrible hurricane. And being one of our states, being part of our country, the United States didn't do anything to help them. So I love that Spike brings this up a few times because we have Mars talking about Puerto Rico, his sister talking about Puerto Rico. But the story of Mars is now couch surfing. He's going from Nola's place to Kalindra's place to maybe his sister's place, but she doesn't really have a place anymore. What are your feelings on Mars? He's trying to work. He does Uber Eats. He's trying to get his little life together. Do you guys see a happy ending for Mars, or do you think it's a good idea for him to be sleeping on Chloe's couch? Because remember, they also had a thing.
Yeah, I think more than anything, what I took from Mars's story, and I think this is what Spike is trying to say, is like his sister literally was thinking about going back to Puerto Rico after what happened in Puerto Rico. And I think like as a country, that should be so fucking embarrassing that we would like that people of color would rather go back to their home countries that are in dismay rather than stay in this country because this country hates us so much and like does so many things to push us out. And I just like, I don't know, watching Mars struggle was just really hard for me to watch, because like he's such a good person and he really is working towards just making, you know, two ends come together. And like as the daughter of an immigrant and stuff, and knowing like how much this country does not mess with us and constantly tries to push us out, it was just like, it's hard to watch. Like gentrification's like, it infuriates me more than anything in this world. So I love Mars because he has such a sunny disposition, but it is really hard to watch him struggle because it's like, these aren't like choices he made that put him in a struggling position.
It's tough. It's tough. What about you, Mina?
Yeah, no, I think that was perfectly stated. I feel like you see his generosity despite how, like, his little means. Like, he takes the tip money he has from Uber Eats and he gives it to, you know, he gives it away, and it's like, wow. And, you know, he does the right thing, like, no pun intended.
I see what you did there.
But you know, he even like gives the $20 for the lost key. Like, he always like tries to do the right thing, and he always tries to like, you know, he's struggling and he's still like, money is an issue for him. Clearly he doesn't have money, and he still isn't trying to like cut corners, isn't trying to like cheat, isn't trying to do like, you know, things to get ahead. That like, we see so much white collar crime in this country and people at the top taking advantage, and then we see someone like Mars who is legitimately struggling, and it's like, how do you have empathy for someone at the top who cheats on their taxes and like when there is so much white collar crime, and then it's like, these people were just asking for it. It's like, that's not my problem. I mean, I feel like there is like this attitude in this country from like a lot of people where it's like, like you got yourself into this situation, with people not understanding like, no, there's a lot of income inequality, and you could be in that situation too.
And that's what it was, just watching Mars and his sister. Absolutely right. Like, all of us can be in that situation because they went from living in their apartment, and you know, it was one of those things where a lot of people do when one mom or dad moves out and they leave you the house. They don't let the renters know that they left you on the lease, because that's how we're passing it down to our kids, and that's what some people have to do. So it's unfortunate. But when I watch it, I was like, damn, this is triggering, but it's also real life. Speaking about triggering, Shemeka saves the day. I love Shemeka so much. I love the way she talks. I love everything about this girl. But she's healing. She's emotionally healing. She's physically healing. She's trying to take care of her beautiful daughter. She's doing hair and coming up with products. And I got a little nervous at first watching this episode.
Same.
When my homegirl put up to the motel, and I was like, is she going to get the surgery, or is she going to get it in? And I was so proud of her, but I also felt for her because when she broke down in that hotel room and had Nola goes to therapy, but not everyone can go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? So to have like a Shemeka break down and cry in the arms of like the detective woman, and she just breaks down in the hotel room. How did you guys feel in that scene? Were you guys also as nervous as I was? I'm like, baby girl, please don't get no shots.
I did not know what was going on. I did not predict that at all. I had no idea what was happening. I was like, at first I was like, this isn't a flashback? Is she going back? None of this is making sense to me. And then she doesn't take the pill, and I'm like, okay, obviously something's up. What is she about to do? Then you see everyone break in, and it's like, wow, oh, this is something she's been planning. And it's just like, my heart was like beating. I was just like, oh my God, like, you know, they probably know where she works, and they probably know like the people associated with her. So the whole time I was thinking, oh, this isn't over. Like, you know, where's the guy, like, who has the money?
Right.
You know, they didn't get the guy who got paid off, but they got the girl. And like, is there going to be something where they come back for her because she ratted out a very lucrative underground business for them? So I don't know. It was a hard decision to make, but I love what the detective was saying. Like, you know, don't worry. Think about how many lives you've saved by doing this. But it kind of feels like she was going to be like some sort of martyr where like maybe they're going to come after her.
Oh, God, I hope not.
I hope not. I love Shemeka, and I love what I feel like Spike was trying to say in all this. And it's like, backdoor, like, you know, shots and stuff like this have always been so confusing to me, because the whole reason that this even came about was because non-black people were trying to copy black bodies because like they were considered fashionable or beautiful, just not on black bodies for some reason. But this whole thing kind of just made me feel like not all skin folk are kinfolk, and like the profiting off of black pain and whatnot, like, was just, I don't know, this whole thing was just really hard for me to watch, especially just because like you're paying money to look like what you already look like, but society has told you that your body as is isn't enough, because but at the same time, white girls and Kardashians and whatnot are, you know, doing the same thing to get our bodies, and it's cool on them, but it's not on us, but we also have to pay to look like it's just like this ongoing cycle, and it just like was really hard to watch. And I hope nothing happens to Shemeka, because I love her, and I think she's such a strong character, and I love the dynamic of her and her daughter. And I thought the tea tree oil thing was funny, just because I'd literally tell people to put tea tree oil on everything.
True Jamaicans. True Jamaican. That's why I just did that. Don't come for me. No, I loved it because it does shine a light of what's actually happening. There is people dying. Yeah. There are young black girls, women of color, mostly black girls, going to these motel rooms because they can't afford to go to Beverly Hills or go to Dr. Miami. Hey, Dr. Miami. And get those surgeries. So they're going in motels, and these people are sticking them with cement and bullshit and putting it in their body, and these girls are dying. So I'm happy that I just love Spike Lee. Y'all know I have a thing for Spike Lee. That's my guy. And he gives us a lot of history, and he breaks down a lot of other things. So I'm happy that he shines a light on it. Wrapping out episode 3, our girl Nola is kind of working. She goes and she meets with the ad people, and I love the girl talking to her at the ad space, Miss Jamila, and keeping it real with her, but they're really interested in her art and her piece. And Nola also gets an unexpected call to head to Martha's Vineyard to NationTime Black Artists Convention Retreat in Martha's Vineyard. So what were your thoughts on when she met with Jamila in the campaign? Like, do you guys think that they're going to honor how she wants to keep it? Because, she's concerned about selling out. But I like what her therapist told her, like, hey, sometimes people's pain can be something good for somebody else, where they can now look at it and they can be like, you know what, someone else went through what I went through. I have something to look at. What about you guys? I
felt like when Shemeka's daughter was like listening to the music and stuff, I felt like that was like a ting of inspiration for Nola when she was watching that, and I hope it kind of comes back around. But I love the Jamila thing just because I know for me personally, I'm often the only black producer on sets, and so it's a really big deal to me to make sure that like black representation's there. And so I thought it was dope for Jamila to be like, I fought really hard for this because I know that this is important. I know that you like, we need you. Like, we can't just take this. We need you to like make it great, because a lot of industries just copy us and don't give us the credit and don't give us the coin. Fashion Nova looking at you. And they profit and whatnot, and then it's just like you're not bringing the people who are inspiring into the room, and there's this disconnect there. So I thought it was dope that she took that liberty to push for Nola to be in the room.
Yeah. What about you, Mina?
I also love that she kind of cut the crap, and she was like, listen, I know this is not your vision. Right. I don't like it either. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I do. I had a conversation with them. Like, we're here to work with you. We're not here to, like, tell you what we want the vision to be. We want you to be happy with it as well. And I think that's so important, because here you are bringing on an artist, and it's like, it's about, well, what's their vision? Like, you have two separate visions. How are you going to, like, bring it together, because you initially wanted her for her art, right? So like you can't like take that and then appropriate it and make it what you want it to be with the faces you want. So I really appreciated that she was so genuine about it, where she's like, no, we're gonna make this work. Like, don't worry. Yeah. Like, I see the fear in your eyes.
I was like, shout out to you, Jamila girl.
Yeah.
Because it's usually like that. And sometimes it's the opposite, where the person who looks like you in the room doesn't really have your back as well. So to have Jamila say, girl, I feel you. I'm here. I hope that relationship stays that way. So to just transition and let's get on into episode 4, #NationTime. I love that what Dutch said, the best way to get over someone, I thought she was going to say to get on top of them, but she said to get into your art, and that's what Nola Darling does, because she is heading to NationTime's Black Artist Expo, which I didn't even know was a thing, in Martha's Vineyard, which is so beautiful. I now want to go to Martha's Vineyard. I'm from New York, but I grew up in Boston, so Martha's Vineyard, it's like a thing. So Nola and Dutch, they pull up to Martha's Vineyards for the National Black Artist Experiment Convention, I guess you can say. Nola settles in because this is a convention where they kind of let you work for 7 days to get inspired, and it looks like our girl cannot get inspired because she's distracted and she does not know what she wants to do. What were your thoughts on this when she first entered the scene? What were your thoughts on Dutch and all that good stuff and her heading to Martha's Vineyard?
Like I said at the very beginning, I was so happy. Like, I felt like I was gonna cry. Like, it felt like so real. Like, wow, like you endure all this stuff. And, you know, at the end of the last episode, she was like, I totally forgot that I applied to this. And it's funny how things that you totally forget about catch up to you because you're still always putting in the work.
Yeah.
And it's like, you get rewarded for that. You just don't see that things are working in your favor because you have all these horrible things happening to you. And then you don't realize, oh, these things that are happening to me are happening for me, like what Maria Menounos always says, you know, like it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Right. And the minute you begin to see that and like really adopt that philosophy, you can be like, you know what, like we're gonna get through this, we're gonna get to the next point. I might not be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I know it's there, and I just have to have faith, you know, faith in the process and in the journey. So I was so happy. I mean, obviously there were some questionable things with where the money came from, and we'll get into that later, but for the most part I was happy because I was like, okay, things are looking up for her.
Yeah, I was definitely hopeful that things were going to come together, but as we saw, you know, things work out differently. But I think despite everything, I think this was a necessary trip, and I do think she took something from it, whether it was like something tangible that she could actually grasp, like her art, or if it was just like, you know, kind of a sense of healing, which I kind of think we saw in that. So I was hyped for
I was hyped. I definitely want to go to Martha's Vineyard. It was beautiful, and we learned some history, and I'll break some of that down as well, and that's what I love about Spike Lee. But Nola meets Olu, if I'm saying his name right, with the beautiful arms, a nice sexy man who does sculptures out of cow dung, which is amazing. I don't know how, but do we kind of see him being a new love interest? Because at the end, he does give her a card and tells her, like, to stay in touch. And he's an artist. Like, she's an artist, so that's something that she has in common with him. Were you guys feeling him? Do you see him as a new, like, boo thing or no?
I like Olu. I think that he is going to challenge her, but I feel like from what I've seen of him so far, I think he challenges her in a way that isn't, like, he's not looking to correct her, which we kind of saw with Opal. Like, it's almost like Opal would bait her just so that Opal could then correct her. And Jamie was also the same way. I think with Olu, he's interested in hearing her perspective and, like, bouncing ideas off of it. So I like him so far.
He's a looker. He has really nice arms. Were you feeling Olu?
I was, but for some reason I wasn't sure if I was feeling them together.
Got you.
And even like from the beginning, the way he was like staring her down, it just like I started thinking about like all the awkward things that we never like fully realize when we're like flirting with people in the beginning, and when you really break it down, like it's kind of weird to just like stare at someone and then like it's just funny when you like really think about how relationships come to be and that like courting process in the beginning. But I think it's awesome for, like, two artists to hit it off and have that inspiration with each other. But I don't know what it is. I feel like there's something about him that I really like that's genuine and grounded, and I feel like Nola really needs that. But I don't know if I see them together yet. Like, it's way too early to tell if they're a good pairing or not.
But he was a great thing to look at.
I want him for me, though.
Same.
Yeah.
When she was watching him naked, sculpting, and I was like, girl, I feel all the feels. Because he looks very good naked.
If the roles were reversed, that would be really creepy.
You know
if he was like just like outside watching, I'd be like, creepy. That's a little creepy.
But me, I'd be like, come on in, sir. Come sculpt with me like ghosts. Well, speaking of something that we don't like looking at, Dean. Dean is there. And we learned that the money from this amazing project that they're doing in Martha's Vineyard, some of it's coming from Dean's gentrifying ass, a.k.a. Onyx. And it causes Nola to have a panic attack because, you know, we remember from season 1, he was the one that was facing the art. He was the one that got, what's his name, in trouble, who spent like 18 months in jail.
Poppy.
He also is a big gentrifier, and Spike is making it very clear this season he's not playing with his show. He's going to let you know that there are certain white people who came in and they're gentrifying the whole thing, and that's what we see for Dean, and he does the whole jive and shuck and jive. So what are you guys' thoughts on him, and how did you feel with him being there and being responsible, and how did you feel with Nola calling his ass out?
It reminds me of when the African American Museum in D.C. came out, and it come to find out it was heavily funded by like one white guy in particular, and people were kind of just like, I don't know how I feel about this. But, which I don't have a problem when white people want to fund for black voices. What I have a problem is when you almost, when you try to overly compensate and relate to our pain. He said something that really triggered me personally when he was talking about his grandfather who was in the Holocaust, because he fell out of a tower, blah blah blah. But I feel it's always interesting because I and I'm sure you do too. People always want to compare black pain with other cultures' pain. We are the only race that has gone through what we've gone through with no repercussions, with no recognition. It's like slavery is bad, but that's about the extent of it. And then when you think about it, it's over 200 years of this torture of an entire country, an entire group of people, and it's never recognized. But everyone seems to be like, oh, well, you know.
Triggered me to some conversations I had in high school with a few people
it's like,
who brought up the Holocaust. And
I can relate because the Holocaust, it's like, but there were things that happened like to put you in a better place after the Holocaust. The Holocaust was absolutely horrible.
Right.
But justice was served. Yeah. You know, slavery, to this day, it's 2019. And,
to this day.
And things have still not happened. There's no other group of people who have been through what the black community has been through and not had some sort of, you know,
40 acres and a mule.
That's all we asking.
That's why Spike Lee named his production company 40 Acres and a Mule. Shout out to Spike. But yeah, it was really triggering. And I think Spike is doing where he's making Dean the character of gentrification. It's all over Brooklyn. It's all over New York. It's in LA where we live right now. It's everywhere you look. So to have him make these horrible speeches and kind of talk and be like, I know the pain because I was there and I went through what you guys went through and my beautiful black queen. And it's like, fam.
Stop.
So I felt very good. I was nervous for Nola because I thought they were going to throw her out of the dinner because she was going off the rails, but I was happy that she called him out. But it's unfortunate because he was very petty and he took away her $10,000 stipend, but he is giving it to someone else. So that was very...
But it was still very much him controlling the black narrative, and that's what like got under my skin. But I did think it was super dope that they had the artist who painted Michelle Obama's portrait on the show.
That was cool.
I was like living for that. But yeah, his whole thing just like, it just had me, I'm not gonna lie, I was watching it the whole time. I was like, I'm annoyed. Like, I'm aggy. Like, I walked away from watching it and was just like, because it's real. Like,
it reminds you, it's real life. It's real life, and I think Spike and creatives like him do that to trigger you, to bring something out, to have these conversations, because the shit that he's putting on Netflix is literally happening today. It ain't happening 200, like, it's happening today, and that's why I think people could love and appreciate Spike for that. Whether if you like him and you agree with his politics, he makes art. Ava DuVernay, they make art where they're going to make you talk about the shit, and you won't talk about it.
There was something that Ulu and Nola talked about that it's funny because my dad's an immigrant, and, like, I feel like it's such a strong conversation that I've heard so many times growing up. About like how was segregation good? Like, did that actually do anything for us, or did it hurt us? And hearing it talked out was really interesting, just because there were a lot of valid points on both ends. And I like that Spike is unapologetic to, like, you know, kind of put that conversation on the table.
Yeah, Spike got his Oscar and he doesn't care. But you guys brought up the artist, so I just wanted to highlight what I love about Spike. Spike gives us a history lesson on Black history, art, music. With the music, we get every album cover, like, because I'm on Spotify and iTunes and Tidal, like, okay, this is perfect. So what Spike did, the first thing he did, he brought up something called the Oak Bluffs, that I know I've never heard of before, and we got a history lesson from the lovely couple that Nola meets, where they explain what the Oak Bluffs were, where Black people would come to Martha's Vineyard to feel safe, to feel like humans, and it became a thing where it's now a culture. President Obama spends time in Martha's Vineyard, so there's a whole Black community. They actually have a website as well too. If you Google Oaks Bluff, which I did, they have a community, and he also had real life artists in the show. So we got to meet Carrie Mae Weems, and for those who don't know who Carrie Mae Weems is, her art is called the Kitchen Table series, where, I don't know if you guys Google it, it's the picture in black and white from, I think, the 60s, where the Black mother is sitting at the table with the little girl doing the makeup. That's what she did. We got Tatiana, I don't want to mess up her last name, we got Latoya Ruby Frazier, George C. Wolfe, Titus Kafer, Tester Gates, Amy Sherald, and a few other folks. And Amy Sherald, like you said, is the woman who did the Michelle Obama painting. So what were you guys' thoughts when you got to see some like real artists? Did you guys think they were actors, or were you excited? Are you guys fans of art and jazz and music and the stuff that Spike puts into the show?
It felt really authentic and real. So I was like, I waited for the credits and I was like, oh, okay. When it said like as themselves, I was like, I knew it. Like, because it didn't feel like it was so specific for it to just feel like it was part of the cast. Like, it really did feel like real people, especially I really did appreciate the Michelle Obama part as well. I thought that was cool because you think about it, it's like you walk into the White House and what do you see? Just like a bunch of portraits of past first ladies, and everyone's white, and then you go in there and the guy was explaining how it's like that's gonna make you feel a certain type of way when you see that, and like how cool is that to have something different for
and
once.
We're gonna have that now for the rest of our lives. Like, there's a great part where photo where there's a little Black girl looking at that Michelle Obama picture. So there's little Black girls, little other girls who can look up to her and be like, wow, I can definitely be that one day, or even be president of the United States.
Yeah. I recognized a few of them and I was like, oh, this is dope. But to hear how she was chosen, because I don't think that was scripted. I think they literally would just like tell us how that happened. Which is like super powerful. I remember when I first saw that portrait, it like really brought me to a lot of emotion, because it's just like, damn, we're really alive when like we really got to see the first Black president and first lady, a Black first lady, and like the poise and the power that they had, and then just to see that portrayed into a portrait that's going to be there for forever. Like, it's always going to be there. It's going to be, you know, amongst these other presidents and whatnot who were slave owners, and just like the power that was in it, and the power of knowing that a Black woman painted it. Like, it was just very encouraging, especially after having that little stint of like the Dean situation. I was like, okay, I'm not completely annoyed.
Thanks, Spike. No, it was amazing. It was refreshing, and it was dope because, like I said, Spike kind of gives you a history lesson where if there's things you don't know, you now will go and Google. You're gonna Google artists. You're gonna Google music, locations. I definitely Googled Oak Bluffs because now I really want to go and I want to see the Black community. I've been to Martha's Vineyard a few times when I was younger, but I never knew that existed. So thank you, Spike Lee, for She's Gotta Have It Season 2. What an amazing episode. 2 episodes that we talked about. Before we wrap everything up, let's get into some news and gossip.
So Anthony Ramos, who plays our favorite Mars, was recently did an interview with Vulture, and he's talking about just the season, which I'm not going to talk about because it's going to give away some stuff. But he did talk about he's going to be in the Heights movie, which I'm super excited about because I was going to say I love that musical, but they asked him how it feels to be in the Heights movie. He says it feels amazing. This was the first musical I've ever seen where I was like, I know all of these people. I know the blonde lady. I know the bodega owner. That changed the game for me. Before then, I wanted to quit acting. I was feeling so discouraged because I wasn't wide enough or Black enough or tall enough or short enough for the role. I couldn't be a leading man. Then people were like, your technique isn't quite there to be in the ensemble. There were so many years of where do I fit in? And then I saw a group of people who looked like me, all shapes and sizes, and they were living their best Latin lives.
Oh, Anthony Ramos, you are absolutely perfect. Him. We love you. We love you as Mars, and I love the representation. That's why I'm happy that Spike kept bringing up Puerto Rico, because I think it's important and it's beautiful. And Anthony, you're beautiful, and we here love you. What an amazing 2 episodes. Woo! Really, really good. Before we head out here, guys, don't go too far because later on we are gonna recap episodes 5 and 6. I believe. Yes, we are. Because again, the show's already out, and I know that you guys binged it over the weekend, so we want to get the reviews out as soon as possible. So we will be binging that and coming back to you guys shortly. But before we go, ladies, let the fans know where they can find you at.
Hey everyone, you can find me on my website, minawahab.com, or go to my Instagram at @MinaMakesMagic.
And you guys can slide into the DMs on all things OK Drew J.
And you guys can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom. Don't go too far because me and my ladies will be back for some more recaps for She's Gotta Have a Season 2. See you guys later. Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.